In Virtue, George Herbert meditates on the transience of earthly beauty and the enduring nature of virtue. The poem contrasts the fleeting pleasures of the natural world with the eternal quality of a virtuous soul. Written in Herbert's characteristically simple yet profound style, the poem invites readers to reflect on the ephemeral nature of life and the permanence of moral goodness. Structure and tone. The poem follows a tightly structured format with 4 quatrains, each exploring a different aspect of beauty and virtue. The tone is contemplative and serene, guiding the reader through a philosophical meditation on the contrast between the temporary and the eternal. The recurring refrain emphasizes the inevitability of mortality. The sweet day and its passing. The first stanza describes a sweet day, which is bright and beautiful but ultimately ends in darkness. The day serves as a metaphor for the fleeting nature of earthly life, no matter how radiant or joyful it may seem. Herbert uses the imagery of the day to remind readers of life's impermanence. The sweet rose and its decay. In the second stanza, Herbert turns to the image of a sweet rose, whose beauty and fragrance captivate the senses. However, he quickly notes that the rose too must wither and die. The rose symbolizes both natural beauty and human desire, which are temporary and subject to decay, much like the day in the first stanza. The spring and its temporary joy. The third stanza shifts to the season of spring, which brings renewal and vitality. Herbert acknowledges its charm and power to awaken life, but even spring is fleeting, giving way to other seasons. This stanza broadens the scope of transience, showing that even the grand cycles of nature are impermanent. The soul's eternal virtue. The final stanza contrasts the mortality of the day, the rose, and spring with the eternal nature of a virtuous soul. Herbert asserts that a soul rooted in virtue is unshakable and immortal, transcending the decay of earthly existence. This conclusion ties the earlier imagery together, presenting virtue as the only enduring aspect of life. Symbolism and imagery. Herbert's use of imagery, the day, the rose, and the spring, serves to anchor the abstract concept of virtue in the tangible world. These symbols, familiar and vivid, help the reader grasp the contrast between the temporal beauty of nature and the timeless quality of virtue. The imagery also reflects Herbert's deep connection to the physical and spiritual aspects of existence. Religious undertones. As a devout Anglican priest, Herbert imbues the poem with Christian undertones. Virtue, in Herbert's view, aligns with spiritual salvation and the eternal life promised in Christian theology. The poem subtly encourages readers to pursue a life of virtue as a means of transcending mortality and achieving spiritual immortality. The interplay of beauty and transience. Herbert's exploration of beauty emphasizes its dual nature. It is a source of joy but also a reminder of life's impermanence. By celebrating beauty while acknowledging its fleeting nature, Herbert elevates virtue as the only true and lasting form of beauty, one that resides in the soul rather than in external appearances. Virtue concludes with a powerful affirmation of the soul's immortality through virtue. The poem is a reflection on what truly matters in life, urging readers to look beyond transient pleasures and embrace eternal values. Herbert's masterful blending of simple imagery and profound spiritual insight makes virtue a timeless meditation on the fleeting nature of earthly life and the enduring power of moral goodness.